Well, Pete, another Smooth as Fast episode. Great to be back in the chair with you. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
We got to shorten those times up a little bit. Okay?
Yeah, we do. It's good to be back on episode 3.
It's good back for episode 3. And today we're going to talk about Trinidad. We're going to do a Trinidad cigar because Smooth as Fast is about cigars and bourbon.
And Horse Soldier.
And we're featuring Horse Soldier today, who, by the way, we want to try to talk to about getting on the show with us. We would like to have you as a partner on some of the shows, and we're going to talk to you about them later. But today, we're doing the Trinidad, and from all indications, it's a creamy, has a creamy taste. But one of these signature marks on this is the pigtail.
It is.
And when I picked them up, I was like, that's pretty interesting. And it turns out that they were once used strictly for diplomats.
They were. It's a Tier 5 cigar. And we're going to go over that in one of the podcasts that we have. I'm actually going to go over everything from a Tier 1 to a Tier 6 cigar.
Well, I'd be interested in hearing about that because I'm not that schooled on it. But let's get started. What do you
Absolutely.
say? While you're chopping yours, I'll pour us a little bourbon.
I'm going to do my signature double V.
A double V?
Yeah. I always get a better draw. I do. I cross them and get a double V. I'm going to have Ray or somebody actually try to zoom in on that when they get a chance in post. But we actually do a double V cut.
Okay.
Do you want me to do that for you, or do you want to?
Yeah, I would like to try that.
Sure. Here, you can just take that.
Take that one. I'm going to get right to business here.
Your lips like God's ears. No, you got to open that. There you go. Has a little. Looks like some Star Trek. You open up the. Remember those old sliding doors from Star Trek where they open up?
Oh my goodness.
This is one of my favorite cigars. Hey, I muted mine.
So did I.
You said you had it on stun.
I
Speaking
did.
of Star Trek.
Well, I did.
I always love to toast it. I could do underwater welding in this thing.
Yeah. Cut 1/4-inch armor-plated steel with that thing.
This is one of the, I got to tell you, I get more requests when I go out on the course. More of the guys, if I offer them any one of the sticks that I have in my humidor, 9 times out of 10, they'll gravitate towards this stick.
Really?
I could have a Cohiba.
Do you think
I could
it's
have
the
anything.
size? Do you think it's a
No.
ring? Maybe
Although
the
size,
length?
I'm told size does matter.
That's a
I'm
different
Sicilian.
show.
Listen,
That's a
I'm
different
Sicilian,
show.
so it doesn't matter. But this, everyone just loves this stick. It's just, it's always consistent. It is absolutely positively outside of Padron, which is the Dominican that we smoked on the last show, which is always, I don't care what Padron you're smoking.
Yeah, delicious.
It is always delicious.
Yeah.
But this particular cigar is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, the first draw was nice.
So tell me a little bit about Horse Soldier.
Well, it's you've seen the movie 12
I did.
Strong. Okay. Well, 12 Strong was a movie about the first 8 attachment that operational ODA, an ODA detachment that went into Afghanistan.
How true was that movie to real life?
From what I've read and what I've heard, I think it's pretty accurate.
Did you know any of the guys?
I did not. I have been up to their restaurant in St. Petersburg, and it's called the Urban Stillhouse by Horse Soldier. And a fellow that was the general manager, and what a personality.
We should try to do a live remote from there.
We should. Maybe we can do the library upstairs. I think it holds about 40 to 50 people, and we could probably do that. We'll have to talk to them. But when they got back and the movie was made, there was a big hoopla about the special operations going in there and running the Taliban out of there in less than 100 days. And when the Russians couldn't do it in 8 years. So there was some celebration about it and all. And I think a group got together and decided they were going to brand it. And they did it on horses. and Afghan horses, which are smaller. They're kind of like a big donkey, I guess. And they were
It's ironic they were sitting on a horse farm,
right
talking about
horse soldiers. And a lot of them, a couple of them, from what I understand, this is from the movie, they could not. A couple of them couldn't even ride, and so they were on those horses and they kept pushing forward, keep going forward, and they did. And they got back. It was a great story. And somebody decided they were going to brand them, so they came out with the bourbon, and I think a couple of them were kind of enthusiasts with making their own distillery and stuff. And somebody decided they were going to brand it and then make it go commercial. And hence, they got Horse Soldier. There's several different blends. They got the copper, the brass, and then the platinum that is out on the market. But when I was up there,
I have one that's actually signed by all the guys.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. I think that one over there. But when I went up there, I organized a couple of dinners up there for Veterans Day for guys that were in my unit. And the setup is they have a team room up there with a lot of artifacts from Afghanistan and that trip and other stuff too. And we went up, we had dinner. I told them that we were bringing in some SF guys and we'd like to be in the team room. Team room's yours. So we went up to the team room afterwards and in there they had a bear. They had
a bear?
A bear was in there. I don't know where that came from. There was a bear in there. And they had a couple of shelves up there. And one of the artifacts that was in there that really stuck out with me was a big chunk of steel. And it was from the World Trade Center.
Oh, my God.
And
I get goosebumps every time I see something from 9/11.
Isn't it amazing?
From specifically from the Trade Center.
And what they did is there was a cast in there too. This bottle is a replica, supposed to be a replica of a World War II canteen. And they made the cast.
Now that you mention it, that really does look like
yeah.
it.
Well, Joey told me this when we were up there.
I didn't notice that until you just said that.
Yeah. Joey told me that when we were up there. He was the general manager. And he said the cast they used to make them was made from steel from the World Trade Center. And he handed me a piece.
Shut the back door.
I'm serious. He handed me a piece, was like, whoa, only half of it. And put it back on. He had both halves of it, and you could see, how the mold was right there. And that's how that was made. Like,
oh my God.
That's pretty cool, huh?
That is phenomenal.
So we went up there.
I love companies that start with backstories like that.
Yeah.
That everything is built on tradition.
Right.
There's not many companies anymore that have tradition that is built from stem to stern. One thing I love about being a Marine is everything about being a Marine is built on tradition. It's the only branch. I know you're not going to like this, but it's the only branch that everything, from even the uniform on it, has tradition and history built on it.
Well, they're the ones that resist every time the social experiments start, and resist they do.
Don't get me started.
And resist they do. But yeah, they have some tradition. Those guys are still actively involved in fundraisers and stuff for them. As a matter of fact, I just saw a commercial not too long ago. I can't remember where they're involved with helping tunnel the towers. And we
Great organization.
Great organization. I was just telling Marty that I had 3 foundations, organizations that I contribute to. And I said, until Warriors Haven came along, and now I have 4. And
we appreciate that.
And pleasure to do it, because I know the good work you guys are doing.
Thank you.
And was invited up to Quail Creek and saw the good things you were doing up there. It was fun. It was great bringing in Vince Hancock. Man, what a classy guy, and a great shot to boot. And at the
I heard
end,
you did really well.
I did okay. I didn't shoot myself, so it was a success.
That's always a success.
But there was also the fun part, the jousting with him. I mean, the guy's a world champion, kicking everybody's butt, right? And when I went up to him, I said, I hope you brought your A game, because I brought mine. And that's what he did. He laughed. It was great. And he he's just a great personality to have there. He was putting out some tips. So it's a great organization, and I think it's worthy to be mentioned.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to be at another charity event for the MDA, Muscular Dystrophy Association.
Oh.
It was coming up on Memorial Day.
Right.
I go back to the days of Jerry Lewis and everything. And
The telethon.
a very dear friend of mine, Teddy Morris, does a charity event every year for his golf tournament. And he's going on 32 years of doing this. I remember going all the way back to his grandfather.
Wow.
Starting it, and then his dad took it over, and now he's had it. And he's brought it to all new heights.
Right.
And unfortunately, I couldn't be at our own event. I went and was there for him because I've been doing this for many years.
Well, when you got an organization like this, you got to spread the wealth. You know? Got to spread the wealth.
So I was there for him.
Yeah.
And we had our veterans, that actually built things for him, and we brought him up to there, and we did centerpieces, brought him up there.
Nice.
And they sold them at auction and raised money for their organization, which I thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what else is good? Is this cigar.
It's awesome.
It is a good cigar. And
The
by
bourbon's
the way,
good, too.
I picked this one out.
You did.
Yeah, Pete said, pick the cigars. What do you want to do? And I was looking at that and I was saying, that's a nice looking stick there. Let's try it. And boy, what a...
No, I want you to try something. I want you to dip it in the bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now just try to smoke it through that.
Oh my, that's nice. That's nice. See, I'm getting a lot of schooling here. I'm
Little tip from your Uncle Pete.
from Uncle Pete.
Tell me that doesn't taste good.
Very nice.
Adds a little flavor to it.
Yeah, it does, and it cools it.
Yeah.
It cools it. Not that it's harsh by any stretch of the imagination.
But it brings it down. It just
Cheers.
changes. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, brother. So what's been going on the farm?
Lots of stuff, man. We've just been getting ready for bringing up a whole new set of challenges for veterans. We're trying to get this building built, and we're deciding whether or not we want to put it on the whole separate building or add it to this building here where we're located. And Marty and I are deciding if that's a good idea. So we're building a new set of plans to make an addition to this building here.
Oh, nice.
Which would give us another 800 square feet, which doesn't seem like a lot.
But it is.
But it is a lot of square footage.
Yeah.
And rather than having it being a Quonset hut, it would be square, which would actually maximize the square footage.
Right.
And give us a lot more usable square footage.
Right.
For the veterans.
And is that in addition to another? Because I know the other building was, you were talking about going up over here. Is that in addition to, or is that in lieu of?
The benefit of doing that was the land usage, right? So now, if all of the buildings are on this side, it would give us the facility on that side, giving us the ring on that side. Now we would have
the ring for the horses.
Right. We would have a covered arena on that side, which would allow us to now have more events. And the second story of that would then allow us to have the culinary program and bring in more events on that side so that we could have more events and have more people over here and bring in a lot more events and more.
You mean with horse events where they ride? Or?
Not just that. We could have more events to have culinary programs and bring in veterans and have. You could have everything from concerts to other charity events come in and do their events here, where our culinary program could actually put on their culinary program and handle their events here, where we could partake, and then we could get the benefit and also the income from that.
What a great venue
benefiting
that would be.
Them and us.
That would be a great venue.
Yeah.
For concerts and stuff?
Sure.
How intimate.
And think of how many different people would allow us to do it thinking that they'd be helping another veteran program,
Right.
right?
Yeah. You know, when we were up there for that Quail Creek, Marty got up and gave a little spiel after it was all said and done. And
Marty hates to speak.
Oh, I know. And it was he had to be goaded.
Yeah.
He had to be shoved up
Always.
there a little bit. But he, you know, I've been kind of tied in with you guys since last July, a little bit, and then a little bit more is going on. But the way he described it to those participants in that event was like, that was spot on. And he was talking about, you know, the vision that you started with, that you worked with Marty about and developed, about working with those trades and more of the, you know, the hand skills with the culinary, the PTSD with the horses, and he kind of laid that all out. I was like, man, that's spot on. Yeah. And I think those guys that were there appreciated it. I brought a veteran with me, and on the way home, he was talking about it the whole way.
Yeah, I was blessed by God. My dad, you know, I think about it all the time. You know, as much challenges I had with my father, you know, I was blessed that he gave me the skills that he gave me from youth. You know, I started working when I was 10 years old.
Right. You haven't stopped.
And no, but think of all the things he taught me.
Yeah.
Right. I can do everything from general woodworking to cabinetry to, I was just downstairs, 5 minutes before we came up here, I was installing a deep sink.
Oh, really?
Right?
Doing the plumbing work too.
Yeah. So all of those things. And now we're sitting up here enjoying a great cigar and great bourbon. Right?
And a little refreshment again?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, Guy, what got you into smoking cigars?
Well, you know, my dad did. And then he stopped because he didn't want us smoking cigars.
Really?
Didn't want to smoke it. And then I was, when I got in the Army, I was going through some training that they didn't feed you very much. And I found that like chewing on a cigar, or just even not lighting it primarily because you didn't want the smoking all around, but just chewing on it kept me from being extra hungry. And then as my training started to advance, I started realizing or being taught that there's groups that will smell that nicotine in your sweat from over a mile away and track you that way. So I stopped for a while, and I would stop before I would go anywhere. I might have one or two back at the house or something, but once we started deploying, it was like, yeah, I think I'm going to stop for a while, just because I'm scared, you know. And but I'm not doing any of that anymore. So I went back to enjoying them, and luckily for me, I ran into you, and you said, I mean, the master of cigars, and said, let's do a show on cigars. And I added bourbon.
That you did, and I'm very thankful for that.
Hey, I'll drink to that for sure, for sure. But that's what got me doing
bourbon,
it.
by the way, people do not appreciate how sophisticated bourbon can get.
Yeah.
And you can have it as rock gut as you want,
Right.
to very sophisticated. And people do not understand that. So, Guy, when your dad brought you into cigars, what was your age?
I mean, he didn't bring me into it. I observed it. He was coming home from work, and he was, you know, he was a master sergeant. And when he came home from work, he had one hanging out of his mouth. You know, he's a crusty old NCO. And he'd come walking in the door and have it hanging out. I don't even know if it was lit half the time, but he had it in his mouth. And then I think my mother probably worked him over, you know, for the benefit of everybody. You know, I think you should stop that. And I guess he kind of gave into it and stopped it. And you know, we were just young street hoodlums at the time, but we noticed it. And I really didn't pick him up until I went in the Army, and then it was like, I don't know, maybe it was in my mind that that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
And I was, like I said, we were going through some training. I didn't have the cigars there, but afterwards we got out, and we weren't still being fed, 3 meals a day, if you were lucky to get one sometimes. And it just seemed that I just stuck one in my mouth one time, bought a pack of them, put them in my ruck, and stuck it in my mouth. I was like, I'm just not thinking about it as much now. And then as like I said, as the training developed and they started teaching you more things, when I started learning about tracking techniques and stuff, I was like, I got to get rid of that. I'm not going that way.
What kind of cigars were you smoking?
Oh, they were just the cheap ones from the PX, But that's why I said I was so fortunate to run into you with these guys. I started smoking some better ones, and I do have. There's a cigar shop over where I live, over on the West Coast, and it's a Cuban lady, a Cuban family, and they do some hand rolling there. They're not these, but they're not bad. As a local, you're supporting a local business.
Sure.
And there's another shop that I'll go to down in Naples. It's called Freedom Cigars, and we looked it up, a cigar one time, and it brought up that shop.
Yeah.
And Randall is a friend, and but unfortunately he had a brother that just died recently, and he couldn't be here. I was trying to get him to be here this time when we were broadcasting. I'll check with him for maybe the 21st. Maybe all that'll be done.
Speaking of which, when I was at Teddy's tournament, I met. He always brings in a roller, and I spoke with him. He's going to come onto his show, and he's going to teach everybody how they roll cigars.
No kidding.
He's going to set up and
Padron.
Not Padron.
Okay.
This is a gentleman that actually is down in Miami. He's from Cuba. He's going to come in and actually teach how they actually roll cigars.
Wow.
And teach the difference in between all of the different rolling techniques, how they do a long filler, how they do a short filler, how they do all of that, and do a whole segment on just rolling cigars.
Cuban fellow, obviously.
Yeah, Cuban fellow.
When I talked with Rick Prado, I asked him, and we were talking about, I said, you smoke cigars, right? He goes, Guy, I'm Cuban.
I remember that from the show.
Sorry, I had to check it out.
What a great show that was.
Oh, man. What a treasure. What a treasure.
It is.
For sure.
We got to have more guests like that. There's so many different people that were out there that you and I have come across over our military careers and since then that you never realize from their history what they really went through and what their backgrounds were.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you met somebody like Rick that has been through that, and when we look at our current history, right, and you look at people today in America, they have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody like that cherishes the country that we live in.
Oh, man, he is definitely a patriot.
Right?
Definitely a patriot.
They don't honor our country the way that they should, based upon what we have. When you have somebody like Rick that understands what it's like to be an American.
They take it for granted. Yeah.
And you have these people that live in this bubble that do not understand what it is that they have.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan said it. We're only a couple generations away from losing this.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see it more and more disappearing. Had a conversation with somebody recently about that. I would say to my children, you don't have the same freedoms I had.
No.
And your children are going to have the same freedoms as you have. And if you don't start getting involved more to try to stop it, it's going to have to be a swell. But otherwise, when I was driving, you didn't have to put a seatbelt on. Now you'll get ticketed. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No.
I'm just saying that should somebody mandate you to do it and you're going to be penalized?
What my father did to me back then was now be considered child abuse.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, it was considered discipline.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Right? People do not realize what it is today to live in a society that what political righteousness rather than political correctness is all about. And it is. It's become political righteousness. It's no longer political correctness.
Right.
It's political righteousness.
You know, I got to. This is a funny story. This isn't a, this isn't a horror thing. But I was out with my my son and his wife for a Christmas thing. I was up a few years back, and I was out with his friends. Now he's kind of, he's in his 50s. He's not that much younger than I am. And he said, "We're going out to dinner, Dad. Why don't you come with us?" And I went, "You sure?" And he said, "Yeah." So I went with him. I was the third wheel. And we're there, and they're all talking about their children. You're talking about like disciplining your children and stuff. And they're all talking about their children. And I just started chuckling. And I said, "Well, you just don't get it." And I could see my son go, "Oh my God." Just like lighten up with it, would you?
It's exactly right.
They're kids.
People don't understand. We get way too into everybody's lives.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be in everybody else's life.
Yeah.
That's not what America was about. America is about freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And that freedom is about allowing everybody to be autonomous and allowing every family unit to run their family unit as a family unit.
As long as you're not infringing on somebody else's rights or freedoms.
That's correct.
Just live your life. Enjoy yourself. Unfortunately.
And this is about that.
I think this
about
is
enjoying this
time.
Do you remember how, listen, we've gotten to a point where you couldn't even have a cigar in certain places.
Yeah. So how do you like this bourbon?
I got to tell you something. This is one of the best bourbons I've ever had.
Yeah, I love it. I love
and
it.
I'm a Gentleman Jack drinker.
Yeah, me too.
And I think this is better than Gentleman Jack.
Mm-hmm. I enjoy it myself. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll get in touch. I'm going up to Tampa a couple times next week. Maybe I'll swing by St. Pete and see if anybody's there and talk to them about maybe some possibilities of doing a broadcast from there.
That'd be awesome.
Or a video anyway, a show there.
I mean, what's better? We're sitting on a horse farm.
Right, right.
I mean, you talk about some synergies.
Yeah, there's definitely, and we are soldiers. I mean, what the hell?
Well, I'm a Marine, but.
Well, same difference. Both knuckle draggers.
That we are.
And another great show. Thanks so much for helping me with this and me helping you with this and providing these wonderful cigars. So please like, share, and if you have any cigars that you want us to review, please send them in to us. We'd like to help you with that. But this is a good cigar, this Trinidad.